everybody, I'm Josh.
I'm Jace.
We're gonna watch. Oh my god, can you believe this is happening?
I can't. This is very surprising that a video like this came up.
I know, right?
I don't care.
What the fuck are you doing?
I don't care.
Nostalgia Critic did a Nostalgia Critic style review for No Way Home.
Channel Awesome did a Nostalgia Critic.
Well, I mean,
technically, the Nostalgia Critic is the series.
I know, but there are other things on this channel. Like he did a review about the movie around the time it came out. But like, just him talking to the camera or talking to a microphone. I don't remember what it was. And I was completely. I thought that would be the end of it, you know. But then again, he did the Dark Knight movie. He'll probably justify why he did it, or maybe because it has the. This video is gonna be spoiling the Spider-Man No Way Home.
But
if you didn't already know,
if you haven't already seen it, it's kind of your fault. Go ahead.
Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield show up, so it has those nostalgic connections.
Yeah, it's actually a Nostalgia Critic. I'm kidding. It was actually interesting. Like when it came out on digital, I watched it again with my dad, and he had no idea that they were bringing in the old Spider-Man.
Well, I think your dad is just one of those people who wouldn't be like paying attention to those kind of things.
But still, it's like
to us who like
we love
YouTube.
When Infinity War came out, they kind of already knew. My mom didn't because more like what you said. Yeah, she doesn't pay attention to those things.
I'm just imagining like the kind of things Nostalgia Critic's going to talk about. Like I feel like they use the other Spider-Man like the perfect amount. Not too much, not too little. This movie has like the second-hand task of redeeming Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man. And I think he does a good job. Andrew Garfield is, he gets to be charming, he gets to be charismatic, as Andrew Garfield is. He's like, it feels like he's a little unburdened by those ridiculous, god awful second movie. I was under the impression that the first movie it was okay, but that second one, like, ugh. I'm almost glad that Nostalgia Critic did the review for the first movie, so I can actually re-examine it. Like, a lot of people, myself included, often looked at that first one in bad light because of how bad the second one is.
So like,
it's like when people look at the new Disney trilogy of the Star Wars movies and think, no good.
You're comparing it to the old ones.
But like with the new trilogy, I look at the new trilogy, I'm like, no good. But I mean, A New Hope and not New Hope. Force Awakens is really good. It's just like
it's kind of stuck in the shadow of the other movies.
Yeah,
right?
which those god awful movies. I am more neutral. I was never a huge Star Wars fan, so I was never upset like a Star Wars fan. I was just a movie fan. I was let down.
By the way, guys, let's go off topic for a little bit. Speaking of Star Wars, about a week ago,
what have I done?
I uploaded a video of me reacting to something that Josh has also reacted to. And he doesn't know where his footage is of it, but should he keep trying to find it and upload his reaction?
I don't care. Go ahead and comment. I don't care.
He's not going to do it either. He's not going to do it either way.
Back to this movie. There are some things Nostalgia Critic is going to nitpick. Why the fuck did you bring all the villains to that apartment at the same time? Maybe go one at a time. Maybe take one at a time so they don't outnumber you when they all decide to go bad. And they let the lizard in the truck. The
lizard is barely even in the movie.
I know, some of them are barely.
Like they did. It's like
they didn't even want to use the Sandman footage.
They didn't even want to use like the lizard special effects, but the Sandman is okay. That was weird. Yeah. Like, why was he in his sand form the whole time?
Because you could CGI it, and then maybe Thomas Hayden Church didn't want to do the live action stuff, or maybe he didn't want to. He might. There was probably a reason. I mean, they probably did their best. All the attention goes to Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin.
Dude, Willem Dafoe actually won Best Villain Performance for this movie.
In what? What did he win?
Best performance for a villain character for this movie.
What award did he win?
I don't remember. All I know is his Best Villain.
Okay, well, no.
Or was it Best Villain? You know what? I'm looking it up. Willem...
You can't spell his name.
Shut up. Winner of Critics' Choice Award for Best Villain in a Movie for Spider-Man No Way Home.
Nice.
Because that is truly one of the most iconic.
Oh, he's so good. There were like there were so many scenes where I was just in this movie screaming. Daredevil, the scene where he's in the alley and he's like talking to the helmet. I was like, oh my god! Especially after we watched those Nostalgia Critics of the Spider-Man movies making fun of him talking to his helmet. I was like, oh my god!
They're like, fuck this trope.
He smashed it with a brick. His laughing, oh my god, it's like Freddy Krueger laughing. It's that good.
You can't even duplicate that. That's the best I could do.
Oh, you did a pretty good job. It sounded
Really?
like it's. Were you going for Freddy Krueger or Green Goblin?
Green Goblin.
Well, they sound the same. I'm just what I'm saying. Willem Dafoe is so good, and this movie. It's because of those Tobey Maguire movies of the time and how much money they had and everything. But they couldn't really make him like physically imposing enough. This one, he's like breaking down walls, throwing Tom Holland around, and also Tom Holland. He was throwing hands in this movie. I remember one of my favorite scenes is when he gets up on Green Goblin's like shoulders and is punching him in the face, and Green Goblin's just laughing,
Just taking it,
taking it and laughing. I was like, oh man, it gives me chills. No, Jace, gun to your head. What's better?
By the way, there it is. Critics' Choice Super Award. That's what the reward is. He won.
Jace, gun to your head. What's better, No Way Home or Spider-Verse?
No Way Home.
Really?
I gotta go with No Way Home.
I guess you're right.
First of all, here's the thing. They're both good, but I think that No Way Home pulls ahead just a little bit further because of the nostalgia. Because we get to see the past Spider-Man.
I know.
Because we don't really have connections to the other Spider-Man that show up in Spider-Verse.
Yeah, the pig.
Maybe we'll see more when
the sequel.
The sequel comes out later this year.
Wait, this year? Is this year?
Yeah. Spider-Verse Part 2?
I have no idea.
Let me look it up. Across the Spider-Verse Part 1.
Part 1?
2023.
Aww.
It doesn't come out until June of next year. I thought it was supposed to come out this year.
Damn it. Alright. Well, this is just kind of turned into us like talking about how awesome No Way Home is, so let's just
see what the Nostalgia Critic has to say. And here we go.
Who's this new?
Hey, he's in the Spider-Verse.
This is like the most recent one he's done at the time of recording. Oh. Not a parallel universe gun. Do not use for parallel universes.
What's that?
A parallel universe gun from the wardrobe room.
What are you talking about? It says it's not a parallel universe gun.
It'd be cool to see what we look like in a parallel universe.
But isn't that a sheet that says don't do that, though?
Critic put that there.
Oh, by all means, light it up.
White Malcolm.
Hey Malcolm, hey Tamara, what in God's name are you doing?
We found your portal gun.
Yeah, we figured we could find different versions of ourselves for the Spider-Man review.
Now, you don't need to do that. In fact, don't do that.
Hey, why are you so concerned with us using this?
Wow, you're a spider critic.
Malcolm Morales?
Temptavious?
This is awesome.
Temptavious?
Why do you not want us to see this?
Hey, it's the copycat.
What? Let me guess. He reviews nostalgic properties with over-the-top reactions.
That is absurd.
Yes.
Yes.
And he's been wearing a similar outfit for 18 years.
No, 15. Did you steal from the Spider-Verse?
No,
It's the exact same thing, except yours is more successful.
no, it's a different universe, so it doesn't count.
Why?
Oh, they're making a joke about how this movie ripped off Spider-Verse.
Like me.
I am appalled that someone would be stealing from us so blatantly!
He sounds just like Gilbert Gottfried.
So?
You sound just like Gilbert Gottfried.
I can't even do Gilbert Gottfried. Watch.
A guy
I don't think I
working
can
in
sing
your
was the same
talent
thing.
agent.
Goddamn, you won't try not to, I do.
He took the same idea we
Rest in
had,
peace, Gilbert Gottfried.
recreated it, and everyone thinks it's so fresh and new.
Okay, so I surrounded myself with similar people and similar ideas, but... Artistically, people like you more?
Suck my lord! Are you kidding me?
They're representing the Spider-Verse and they're representing No Way Home. That's what it is.
it's clear we're not gonna look because it's an obviously fabricated distraction. And he escaped while I was explaining that!
Let us go find him.
Can we wave our fists and yell?
Yes, preferably.
Should successful property be praised when something like it was already done? In the same franchise? Don't get me wrong, it happens whether we agree to it or not. Hunger Games with Battle Royale, X-Men with Doom Patrol, Phantom of the Opera with School Days, it's an age-old occurrence. Though with one of the biggest movies to come out in recent years, Spider-Man No Way Home, I was shocked how few people were pointing out the similarities between a Spider-Man property many still proclaim as the best Spider-Man movie, Into the Spider-Verse. Praised by critics and audiences, and even winning the Oscar for Best Animated Film, it didn't get the box office return it was hoping for, or at least nothing near No Way Home. So
They usually lean a bit more towards me, like a little off center.
2 sequels in works, hoping the goodwill it's built up will equal good ticket sales. But that still raises the question. Is a Sony movie about Spider-Man in a multiverse of crossovers ripping off another Sony movie about Spider-Man in a multiverse of crossovers?
Hey, so who plays Daredevil in your universe?
It's complicated. First of all, you have to realize the hype around this movie was almost next level. I'm really not kidding when I say this was on par with Endgame or The Dark Knight. It wasn't just past characters from Spider-Man meeting up, it was past actors. The internet flipped just seeing Alfred Molina, and knowing there could be even more actors involved made everyone, well, honestly, the movie still would have done great even if it was just okay. But luckily, it had some great action, wonderful acting, and surprisingly brilliant storytelling that balanced a ton of characters, many of them beloved, into one movie without being a huge mess. Only one other Spider-Man film managed to do this more effectively, and you guessed it, it came out 4 years earlier. But here's the thing. Not only is No Way Home live action, which doesn't make it a better experience, but does make it a different experience, but it's done at the height of the nostalgic reboot. Yes, nostalgic properties have been milked for years, but the idea of getting the original cast decades later for a reunion/reimagining is not only hot, but it's fading into lukewarm. No Way Home came out just as people were starting to get sick of aging stars banking on your fond memories. But it still did something new yet familiar, winning everybody over. And that's no small feat.
Love Tobey Maguire in that
I don't think
movie.
it's an example of Spider-Verse walk so No Way Home could run. It's more Spider-Verse run so No Way Home could run in a different way. While there are similarities, and I still stand by Spider-Verse as the better film, I think it's important to understand why this worked as well as it did, and why, in my opinion, it's a case of influence, not ripoff.
To a point where people you think would call it a ripoff don't.
Aha! He's in here!
Damn it! What? What's wrong?
We come from a universe where the aliens from science took over.
We're not very good with doors.
It's okay. Let's just get some water and think of a plan.
It scares us even more!
Let's take a look at Spider-Man No Way Home. The film picks up right where the last one left off, with Spider-Man, played by Tom Holland, being outed as Peter Parker and his girlfriend, MJ, played by Zendaya, caught in the middle after people think he killed the false hero Mysterio. Even though the effects in this are hit and miss, I have to admit the swinging scenes are probably the best since Amazing Spider-Man 2. Yes, good things came out of that aside from Giamatti's accent.
I destroy you!
They go to Aunt May, played again by Marissa Tomei, but so do the police and everybody gets arrested. I hate it when the jackass cop in the movie has a point.
A boy was entrusted to you, and as his legal guardian, you not only allowed him to endanger himself, but you actually encouraged it.
My client would like to refer to the argument of, oh come on, comic books! They're released on bail and greeted by, I don't care what anyone says, my favorite cameo.
That's great. Oh, does your universe not require an audience track with your movie?
No,
Ours does. It's the law.
it's the law for all your movies to have audience tracks.
No, just this one.
Yeah, the pauses go on way too long without them.
Okay, fair enough.
Oh, this track's especially good because I was at the screening.
Because they don't know that he's Daredevil, it kind of makes
Like
sense
this
there's a
cameo
long
for two
pause.
reasons.
Yeah.
One, it's nice knowing these series are still canon. Two, Peter doesn't have any money, so it makes sense he would represent him. Which is more than I can say for that Jennifer Susan Waters. God, I hate her ads.
Oh my god.
Peter, Jay, and his pal Ned
She-Hulk.
all try their best to adapt, and I knew this movie was working
Wait,
when I
what?
realized
You
I
saw She-Hulk?
need the characters from the other movies. No part of me was getting restless or looking at my phone saying, when are they gonna arrive? These leads are so ridiculously likable, their problems are
That's
probably
true, but I
related,
was
and
waiting
the
for them to
pacing
show
for as
up.
much information as they throw at you is amazingly stellar. Much like Spider-Verse, this should not work, but it brilliantly balances out.
In light of recent controversy, we are unable to consider your application at this time.
Peter sees his friends are not accepted into college, most likely because of him. So he goes to his friend Dr. Strange, played by Benedict Cumberbatch's still hilarious American accent.
Sanctum's built at the intersection of cosmic energy currents. Some of these walls are thousands of years old.
This is Constable Wickham's. Remove your knickers and wait in the bath.
Who can possibly help out while defrosting his house? Yeah, I still don't know what the point of that was.
The entire world's about to forget that Peter Parker is Spider-Man.
Yeah, how good is this movie? It takes a story as terrible as One More Day and says, I can fix it!
Oh my god, One More Day is such a bad
So my
one.
girlfriend's just gonna forget about everything we've been through?
I think it's cool Peter is messing with things he shouldn't mess with, but not for selfish reasons. Everything he does in this movie, for the most part, is to help others. He's fine taking shit, but he doesn't want to ruin his friends' futures. Even his major goal is to rehabilitate people, not just to beat them up.
You could have just left us to die. Why didn't you?
Because that's not who he is.
He's essentially a live-action Eek the Cat. He says it never hurts to help, then spends a lifetime getting hurt.
Harold Happy Hogan. He used to work for Tony Stark, but today...
When he interrupts the spell, things go wrong, but Strange thinks he can contain it.
You know, after everything we've been through together, somehow I always forget you're just a kid.
A 26-year-old kid. He's won GQ's Men of the Year! Peter
Jesus
tries
Christ.
to convince the vice chancellor of a college to let his friends in, but he's attacked by a familiar face.
Yeah, Tom Holland is our age.
I know.
Woo! Actually, he's not even 26 yet.
Like I was saying, we get Doc Ock back in the picture, played again by Alfred Molina.
Hello, Peter.
You might be wondering why I'm 20 years older and 50 pounds lighter. The answer is, ooh, the Doc Ock theme. Da 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 da, classic.
Oh, it is cool hearing that theme again.
I should point out almost every action scene is ridiculously creative. I mean, this is an 8-legged octopus man fighting an 8-legged Spider-Man. Can we just give thanks we live in a world where this is popular?
Pairing new device.
Peter uses the nanotechnology from his suit to control Doc Ock's arms, but more importantly, his friends are getting into college! Again, this movie is really working when I was concerned about that throughout the entire fight.
I'm gonna talk to admissions about your friends, and I'm gonna talk to them about you.
I'm gonna get you that role in the Uncharted movie.
I heard that was terrible.
As he locks up,
I think he'll do it. I'm pretty sure he's going to do an MC for it. Uncharted.
I saw everything everywhere at once, and I couldn't follow a lick of it. This looks like a job for half the characters from Recess.
Scooby-Doo this shit.
You know, I know a couple of magic words myself, starting with the word please.
Not cool.
Oh my god.
Try to figure out where other
'Cause she
villains
played
from other
her.
worlds could be, leading to a joke you either love or hate.
I'm sorry, what was your name again?
Dr. Otto Octavius.
Wait, no, seriously, what's your actual name?
On the one hand, this doesn't bother me too much because they made fun of it in the original.
Guy named Otto Octavius winds up with 8 limbs. What are the odds?
And even Peter makes a joke about Strange's name.
I'm Peter, by the way.
Doctor Strange.
Oh, you're using your made-up names. I'm Spider-Man then.
So my only gripe is, wouldn't he be used to these names by now? Maybe an eye roll or something could work, but laughing this hard like this isn't the world you live in is a little strange.
Doctor Strange.
That's pretty good.
See, even that worked a little better. They searched through the internet and I think Onward cameos to discover two other visitors, Sandman and Electro.
Ray Charles can't see!
I absolutely love that Sandman helps out in this one, and despite both Thomas Hayden Church and Rhys Evans barely showing their faces, it does make a difference having their incredibly distinct voices.
Yeah.
Knowing how crazy the planning and scheduling for this must have been, it doesn't feel
That's
like
a good
cheat.
point.
The power is different.
Electro, played again by Jamie Foxx, you can tell they're trying to fix as a character
Oh,
compared
yeah.
to the last one.
Tone him
All
down.
I get is he's a literal power-hungry villain who wants electricity.
There you go.
In this, his writing's still consistently awkward.
It's actually my fault that you're here.
Like the universe or the woods. I hate the woods.
I thought that was funny.
It's barky and rough and irritating, and it's everywhere. Strange traps them as well, and remember when I said the effects were hit and miss? The lizard is the worst of that.
Speaking of which, what happened to you? Last I
Put him in the shade.
bad teeth, glasses, and a comb over.
He wasn't that great in effect to begin with, but now he looks like a Super Mario Brothers movie Goomba chased with a Geico gecko.
Oh my god.
World to conquer.
Yes!
Abominations when Willem Dafoe shows up. Nemo! Here's my other personal.
Are they CGIing him to make him look younger?
Can't escape yourself.
Thank you.
He destroyed that
You
stupid
know
helmet.
how much I hated this mask.
Hell yeah.
It was a lot of fun in the first Spider-Man, but the idea of covering up this face for a character called Green Goblin is absolutely baffling to me. You could have given him some makeup or alter him in a way where people wouldn't recognize him, but you needed to see this face. Well, they finally listened to the Weird Al song and they gave him clothes that not only look closer to the Goblin, but also allowed his face to match too. Aside from one cool scene where you see a mouth within a mouth, this movie showed how much of his performance we've been missing with his face covered up. My only complaint is I could have used it turning green a little bit. That's the one thing Amazing Spider-Man 2 started to play with that wasn't a bad idea. They just botched it up. He looked like the Rat King. I'm actually curious if they had that idea, as Aunt May sticks him with something that doesn't have an effect, so I'm almost wondering why it was even in there. Maybe it was to give him
Good
that
point.
effect, and they backed out at the last minute. I'm not sure. With
That's a
that
good
said,
point.
He's still perfectly over the top and clearly having a ball, but he's also legit kind of scary.
You are the one that killed her. That's some neat trick.
What are you doing,
Sorry.
Josh?
Sorry.
I also give credit, he's not trying to fool Peter either.
Steak, man.
He goes to Aunt May and legit wants help. It's only later that the Goblin takes over again. This makes the character so much more interesting and Peter's need to help him all the more relatable.
Thanks, mate. Hope to see you again.
I ship it.
Ew.
Sooner or later, but
No.
nothing in common.
Is that better?
Yes.
Oh, no ad. Lucky us.
I was hoping there would be an ad. I wanted us to channel
Aged
them.
up, Strange says he has to send them back to die. Peter thinks they're still good in them though and steals the spell from Strange, who literally knocks him out of his body.
Physical. What?
How are you doing that?
Neat. Oh, that raises a good question. How is he doing that? The theory is it's his spider sense taking over. It's a bit of a stretch, but I guess I'd buy it. Either way, it doesn't matter though, because the film never tells us.
No, it's a spider thing. You remove its soul and it still has good reflexes.
Watch, we'll show you with this spider here.
Here we go.
Oh.
Maybe not.
Sorry, buddy.
We're still here, by the way.
What the fuck?
And
You killed him.
extra charge, we're given a really awesome Doctor Strange battle.
We can't just send them home to die.
It's their fate.
This scene made me realize Strange wasn't just a throwaway cameo like in Thor Ragnarok where he just transports a character. He easily could have been written out. There's different ideologies being fought for here, with Strange not wanting to mess with fate anymore and Peter wanting to do the
This is
right
actually
thing. And it
a
does
good
end up
difference.
changing them.
The one thing about
This
Spider-Man,
is Strange the first time
they
he's
said,
been
I've heard
in
that
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man is capable of lifting Mjolnir if he was willing to kill.
The same thing,
but he's not.
after Peter challenges the way he perceives.
Go ahead and correct me.
Everyone
I know you guys do that anyway.
who knows and loves you.
If I'm wrong.
We'd have no memory of you.
He goes through an arc, and it's nice he isn't just here because he's a face you recognize. Also, Peter using math to figure this world out is both clever and surprisingly believable. I'm actually amazed at how smart this solution is.
The mirror dimension is just geometry. You're great at geometry. Square the radius. Divide by pi.
That was fucking awesome.
In the likely circumstance you're trapped in between worlds and fighting a magical realm wizard, geometry was finally essential to learn in school. He trapped Strange in his own world, maybe for a little too long. What's the amount of time he was there?
I've been dangling over the Grand Canyon for 12 hours.
I know.
What'd you have lunch with the Midnight Gospel? And Peter decides to do his best to rehabilitate the villains.
Look, our technology is advanced.
I can
and
help you. You know, I'm something of a scientist myself.
Do you think that's your catchphrase? Why do you think that's your catchphrase? I really shouldn't be too picky, seeing how so much of this.
It's because it became a meme, right?
Possible. With that said, man, this is a lame way to write out a character.
Where's Connors? He told me he wants to stay in the truck.
Okay.
No cure for him then. Peter's mouth wasn't even moving when he said that line.
Where's Connors?
Let's go eat, huh?
Hard to tell because it was kind of a.
They randomly cut back to a truck shaking to show, oh yeah, we didn't have to edit that in at the last minute. That was always in the script. Maybe they just got tired of looking at his Teenage Mutant Audrey 2 face.
When I get out of this, we're gonna rip you a new time.
For a while, Peter seems to legit help them out as he reprograms Doc Ock's chip, gives Electro a stabilizer, and even Norman helps out.
When all this is over, if you need a job and you're willing to commute to another universe.
And I have to say, all actors are bringing their A game. Not one of them feels like they're half-assing it. With that said, though, the Goblin does take Norman over and convinces everyone pretty quickly that evil is cool and
Good is dumb.
Spaceballs.
Gods don't have to choose.
most of them I can buy except for Sandman. His turn makes no sense. What the hell does he have to be
Well,
evil about?
he just
All
leaves.
he's done is help out, and what? We're supposed to think he's like, haha, off to save my daughter, which I may or may not have already done. What's he doing?
Hey, run, please.
He tries to stop them, but gets killed by the Goblin. I have to admit, I like that she dies doing something noble and isn't just a bystander.
And with great power, there must also come great responsibility.
I'm gonna hold my breath now and she dies. Yep, there you go.
On top of the scene playing out really well, despite her saying what you've heard a million times, despite her clearly replacing Uncle Ben, despite you could argue Tony was the Uncle Ben role in this universe, they changed with the lore in a way that's backwards, but does ultimately add up. One of my pet peeves with the other Holland films is that there was no sense of purpose. I didn't want to see Uncle Ben die again, but if you show
I think it was
look how young he looks.
Some people have said it's better for Aunt May to have died because we got to see her in two previous movies and we got
trying to be a hero done well,
know more about
done
her.
in a million other stories. But whether intentionally or unintentionally, they made Parker someone who just wanted to do good and over time gain that purpose, gain that sacrifice. It's also done after we've gotten 2 movies to really know him and his friends, so it feels a lot more personal.
I just wish we could see Peter.
Speaking of which, Ned tries to help by using one of Doctor Strange's rings, resulting in...
Kick Odie!
A lot of people say this film was redemption for Andrew Garfield, but you're wrong, Garfield was always great.
Molly's game!
Tobey Maguire arrives, and now all cinematic Spider-Mans are in this movie, and while to many this wasn't that big a surprise, I think everyone was impressed with just how much of them were in this movie. I was assuming they'd be in the climax, or maybe a little cameo at the end where they help out, but they are here for most of the third act, and they do everything you want to see these 3 do. Except one thing. No, they're not behind the scenes, this movie's great!
I've been trying to find your friend ever since I got here. I just have this sense that he needs my help.
Our help.
If anything, your franchises need his help.
Ooh.
This movie is smart to let the friends meet up and cry about losing Aunt May. Most movies would rush into getting all the Spider-Mans together, but a scene like this shows they do care about the characters first. And when they do meet up, this whole scene feels like a love letter to all the themes and ideas that have carried through Spider-Man.
My Uncle Ben was killed. It was my fault.
Uncle Ben like the rice? We do that here. It is pretty funny when Peter asks if their versions of Uncle Ben said with great power comes great responsibility. Garfield almost has to think, is that what that overwritten line was trying to say?
She told me that with great power comes great responsibility.
What? How do you know that? If you could do good things for other people, you had a moral obligation to do those things. Not choice, responsibility.
Oh.
Uncle Ben said it.
Sounds like your version was a little tighter, could fit on a t-shirt, but same idea. They science up and figure out ways to zap the villains back to normal and tell them to meet at the statue of Captain America. All the villains show up, and while they all still have great chemistry, this is surprisingly kind of a lame climax.
What do you mean?
Of course it's awesome to see the 3 Spider-Man swinging around, but it's a pretty ugly looking finale. It's murky, it's dark, it looks like they smeared a fart on the lens somehow. Even the statue has a look like X-Men did it, and even then it was pretty meh. They do get the villains back to normal though, leading to this obvious but still kind of funny line.
I just thought you was gonna be black. Oh man, I'm sorry.
Andrew Garfield doesn't know what to say. I'm sorry.
Well, and like a black property, the white property is constantly taking ideas from it.
Wow.
If you're like me, you thought this death of girlfriend moment was gonna be some into darkness bullshit, but somehow it went from worst scene to best scene in a millisecond.
Are you okay?
Garfield, no.
Hell with Tick Tick Boom, that one face should have gotten him an Oscar. It's time to take on the Goblin though, as, again to the film's credit, it remembers this is Holland's movie and it gives him an arc of being pushed to the edge trying to get revenge.
And then he gets stabbed for like no reason.
So while there's
no
things
plot
animation
reason.
can do that live action can't, there are things live action can do that animation can't. This is an example. This image has to be Tom Holland, Willem Dafoe, and Tobey Maguire. It's only powerful because it's these actors right there with years of history behind them. There's not even a line here because it's not needed. It's just all in their looks. I'm not saying animation or live action is better. They're just different, and a good art form should lean into what makes it different. Goblin is turned back to normal, but Strange says the multiverse is out of control and he has to make the world forget who Spider-Man is to set it back to normal.
I'm sweet. Wait, tell me when you see me again.
I usually hate these setups because it feels regressive and like things aren't moving forward, but seeing how the series is already backwards and they turned it into something great, I am curious what they're gonna do with it. We haven't had Peter all on his own in the series yet with no friends or expensive gadgets. That was a pretty big part of the comics for a while, and I wouldn't mind seeing how they handle it. Also, again, the acting is really stellar and everything builds up to this choice of him leaving the ones he loves so that they can have normal lives.
Rent is due on the 1st of the month. Don't be late.
You'll get your rent when you fix this damn door! Oh, next one. Oh, I'm not kidding, as the after credit sequence shows what I thought would be a big upset with Tom Hardy as Venom getting zapped back to his reality. I thought people were gonna freak because they were really building this up in the last Venom movie, but maybe folks realize we really didn't want to see these particular movies together.
Sir, you have to pay the bill.
What is happening? No!
Hey, at least I technically make this a Sinister Six movie!
Yay!
And that was, in my opinion, the best live-action Spider-Man movie. It's like it took all the little problems that added up in the other films and almost completely fixed them. Okay, it's not 100% the comic, but it not only somehow made the other films more like the comics, but it got the soul and character down in an almost totally backwards way. Getting us to relate to these people for 2 movies, playing the long game and having us warm up to them really leaned hard into the whole friendly neighborhood Spider-Man feel. I really loved watching Tom Holland grow up as Peter. Yes, he was like 20 when these started, but it's actually kind of eerie how much he's looking like Parker growing up. Much like Spider-Verse, this isn't how I would imagine the best Spider-Man movie, but that's also what I really like about it. It is different, while also paying homage to everything we love about this series. Where Spider-Verse did everything that could be done with that idea in animation, No Way Home did everything that it could with this idea in live action. At least in a way that, for the most part, balanced out. I really don't think it would have worked if these guys were brought in too. Both this and Spider-Verse are movies that on paper shouldn't work, but because of great skill, clever thinking, and a clear love and understanding of the material, they show their strengths in both their similarities and their differences.
Kick his ass.
Of course, pushing really hard, that's a Tor's weakness.
Okay, Critic, we're gonna...
It's all good. I did a review, now everything is fine.
Oh. Is that how things work around here?
Pretty much, yeah.
Huh. Well, I've learned that you really can't.
We know.
Oh.
But I think I've learned that you can never...
We know.
Oh, I guess you can show yourself out then.
Got it.
Hey, say, how is Gilbert Godfrey here? In our universe, he's working on a new version of the Aristocrats joke with Bob Saget and Norm Macdonald to make some good people laugh.
The same.
Good to know.
R.I.P.
I'm the nostalgia critic. I remember.
So, did you just hire us because you saw us in a parallel universe?
No, I made you in a lab.
Oh, good. Wait.
I hate the woods.
I'm the reason you're here. Is universe or in the woods? He kind of raises a good point about the climax. Like they have like the thing where they fumble for a bit, but there's no tension. They're just fighting some dudes. The only real tension is when the Green Goblin comes into play. Could you imagine if I don't know why was he just waiting for the rest of them to be knocked out before he jumped in? I didn't even think about it that way. It's Tobey Maguire Spider-Man not letting his Green Goblin die. You know what I mean? Because he already let him die. He didn't want that to happen again.
I mean, if you go back to that scene, it's not like he could have stopped it. Unless he let himself die.
He didn't even...
Besides the point.
The Nostalgia Critic didn't even bring up, like, the Tobey Maguire getting shanked for a little bit there. It's the best live-action Spider-Man movie. He does raise a good point about, like, is it ripping off Spider-Verse. But like he said, you can't make the argument for more influence. Like, you can make the argument that My Hero Academia is just a ripoff of the X-Men. But it's so different that you can call it influence.
Like, I even heard this thing. Like, there's, like, oh, name a movie that's a ripoff of another movie. And someone was like, all of them? There's only, like, around 37, I think, different plots a movie could possibly have. I mean, there's way more movies than 37. A lot more movies than just 37.
Name them. Name 37 movies. Do it.
Let's see. There's already about 25 in the MCU, so that's pretty easy.
Damn it. We still got 12 more to go. Go. No, I'm kidding. Please don't.
And then there's and then there's 8 Harry Potter movies, but technically one of them is a two-parter. Then we got Mission Impossible movies. Wait, should it be franchises?
37 franchises. 37 series of films. Willem Dafoe, man. Love that man. I wish, he did make a good point that I didn't even think about it. Aunt May injects him with the thing, but it does nothing. What do you think about him, like that turning him green? Would that have been cool? Or do you think it's a good idea they scrapped it?
I don't think it necessarily needed to be green. Like, what rule is there that says goblins need to be green?
It felt like in my opinion, it felt like from the neck up, he was a little naked. You know what I mean? It'd be like if you were wearing a really cool cosplay outfit of like Alphonse from Brotherhood, but you just weren't wearing the helmet. You know what I mean?
I don't think I'm tall enough.
Actually, you might be. Ed's pretty short, comparatively. I don't know how tall that armor is. Do you have anything left to say about the Nostalgia Critic?
Sorry, I had something else to say. Nothing left to say about the Nostalgia Critic. I have heard what some people want to see happen for the next series of Tom Holland Spider-Man. Assuming that's when it's going to happen, because that's the kind of vibe we got from the ending of this movie.
I don't know if they'll
this is their way of rebooting Spider-Man.
Maybe. I will say this though: there's a scene in the movie where they're talking about Aunt May, and it cuts from Tom Holland in No Way Home to Tom Holland in Homecoming. I was like, Jesus Christ! I'm like, what movie is this? Tom Holland looks like such a baby, and I thought it was like a movie before Homecoming, but no, it was Homecoming. I was like, what the fuck?
That movie didn't really do him justice.
Homecoming?
Remember he shoots out a web, but he's in a suburban area?
That was funny.
Oh, okay, screw this.
That was funny. I feel like each of the MCU Spider-Man movies have their charm for what they're trying to achieve at the time.
You know, it's also interesting, like, remember the end credit scene from Homecoming? It was Michael Keaton in jail.
Yeah, Scorpion.
And he talked to Matt Gargan, Scorpion.
So you think you want to be there to be like an in-universe version of the Sinister Six?
I eventually want to see the Sinister Six done in a live-action version, you said?
Yeah.
Yes, I want to eventually see a live-action version of Sinister Six. And it looked like that's what this was going towards, to be fair. The entire series, the entire trilogy. Mm-hmm. But I don't think it's going to happen now, because no one knows Peter Parker is Spider-Man anymore. So, because not even Michael Keaton or
yeah. Well, people still could hate Spider-Man, just not know he's Peter Parker.
That's fair.
Mm-hmm. Like in the Doctor Strange movie, they were like, that was an incident with Spider-Man. They didn't he still remembers who Spider-Man is, just not that he's Peter Parker.
What did I hear? I can't remember what they said for the first movie, but I heard that they were going to bring in. Actually, no, sorry. The first movie of the new trilogy was going to be Scorpion, is what they wanted to see happen. I can't remember the third movie, or second movie, but then they wanted to do some sort of combination with Venomized Scorpion, which apparently is somewhere in the comics.
That'd be
and Hobgoblin.
That'd be a cool movie, dealing with like him fighting like a low level threat like Scorpion, but he's got to do it with his new tech that he's not used to after getting like nanotech and bullshit.
100%, he's on his own.
He's on his own, and maybe he makes a new friend or something.
I saw that. This is something I saw. Someone did a skit.
Mary Jane. Wait, no, just Zendaya.
He's like finally gets to college. She's like in the library doing something. And a girl asks him for help. And she's like, "You're cute. What's your name?" I'm Peter Parker. Be like, "I'm Gwen Stacy." Nope.
He's just nope.
He's just like, nope. He goes to another class. Be like, "I'm Dr. Kirk Connors." Yep, I'm dropping out.
He knows. He just leaves.
He's just trying to constantly avoid all the references to the past, to the other movies, to the other universes.
I wonder if he would like meet his universe's versions of these people, but I don't think they'd be played with the same actors. Those Garfield, Maguire, and Holland were all Spider-Man and Peter Parker, but they weren't.
You know,
played with the
that's
same
another
actor.
interesting thing. Why is it that in this movie, the same character from different universes is obviously played like different? They look different. But what the fuck was the deal with Multiverse of Madness?
Where they were all all the Doctor Stranges were the same, but
all the Doctor Stranges were Benedict Cumberbatch.
It's because movie. I think it's because movie.
Fuck movie.
All right, let's wrap it up. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'm Josh.
I'm Jace.
We'll see you guys in the next one.
Oh,
what?
Tell us what you guys think in the comments. Go ahead and tell us what you guys think Sony should be doing for this upcoming new trilogy with rebooting Spider-Man after this movie. What do you think is the future? What do you think the future of Spider-Man should include?
Tom Holland versus Morbius. Blech.
You know, there was a Spider-Man 3 video game, and you fought Morbius in that.
Cool. Bet he wasn't Jared Leto.
I don't know.
Right.
Bye!